Ah, I'm Chad from Retro Vibe. Season 4 now. You guys probably don't even remember Season 1 or 2 or coincidentally 3, but that's okay. It's a work in progress and it's sort of an indie thing, you might say anyway. So, nonetheless, let's see if we can kind of get things into focus here and kind of get things down to their root, if you will. Retro Vibe is in season 4 now. Again, most people don't even know there was a season 1, but it started many years ago. It actually started a really long time ago. Uh, I was born in 1980 and grew up in pop culture, in the midst of pop culture and the boom of pop culture. And pop culture, the influx of pop culture in the 80s, major event, guys. But we're not going to talk too much about all that right now. We'll be talking about all that stuff down the road. Right now, what we're going to talk about is season 4. Again, I know you guys don't even remember season 1 or anything like that. Again, work in progress. This all started years ago. Uh, I'd say really about 7 years ago. It was summertime, and I had this recurring theme in my mind of putting together like a sort of a nostalgia haven, a place of nostalgia, if you will. Just sort of a hangout room that I wanted to go to and, kick it in and sort of be surrounded by the things that were, like I grew up with that had cultural significance or significance to my life. And I thought, this is really awesome. And I started to put together this sort of uh, 80s 90s type room, and it had all the stuff that I liked: GI Joe, Masters of the Universe, Voltron, Ghostbusters, just all that stuff, that I had an attachment to or an affiliation with. Um, and not so much for the sake of stuff, because for me personally, it was never so much about the stuff as it was the spiritual or character. If you don't like the term spiritual, the character evolution process that I was getting through this stuff. Because I did not grow up with a dad per se. I grew up kind of under a single mom. Worked third shift. I got to spend a lot of time alone, and in a lot of ways, reflecting back on that, pop culture raised me quite a bit, and I did have situations where, there was, I had family, so I don't want to make it sound like it was just some horrible case of, being a lonely child or anything like that. There was a very great couple that took us, myself and my brother, in when we were very young, and we spent a lot of time, especially him, but I spent a lot of time with them as well, and uh, I've got a lot of fond memories of that, and it was really fantastic that there are people like that, and as well, I did spend a lot of time alone, and things like He-Man or various elements of stuff, they became like touchstones of moral principle or places of development in my character where I was growing because maybe Dad wasn't there, but He-Man was, and He-Man would hey, he always had like a moral reflection that was a derivative of his character. So like I said, if and this is a theme with Retro Vibe as well. This is not about stuff. It's never been about stuff, The stuff, the stuff is just a touchstone, a place of character development, a place where points of spirituality are learned, a place where we discover things about ourselves. There's a popular show on some what is it, pay to view type deal, and part of the theme song there is you know, not being able to let go of the the things of our past. You know, it's part of their theme song, and that show discusses like 80s toys and things like that, or phenomena surrounding it. But the reason I'm going to go ahead and answer their question in their theme song, the reason we can't let that stuff go is because of the identification that we have with it. We identify with those things. We touch those things with our hearts. We touch those things with our minds and our spirits. Uh, and we're a unique generation. I'm talking about if you were born in the 80s, 90s, you're from a unique generation. You're from the last generation before, you know, the common notoriety of internets and cell phones and all that stuff. That's just common now. We remember before when it wasn't, you know, back when I mean, heck, you watch a John Hughes movie and you look at all the cultural characters in the high school. High school was a phenomenon back then, before the cell phone, before all this stuff that, you know, we're kind of spoiled on now, and myself included. But we don't let go of things. We have a touchstone with things because those things from our past uh, give us a reminder. You know, we remember things through them. They're important, but a lot of times people are searching for something and they've not evolved in their character, or they've not evolved. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory or insulting. Again, if you're looking at this as about stuff, like I'm going to show you, you know, what is this He-Man character back here? It's not about He-Man, dude. It's not about anything like that. It's about the emotional content behind that, the thing that that drives it, not so much the thing. I mean, most of these corporations are just going to dump this stuff out on you anyway. They're just going to push it and push it and push it, and it never ends. I mean, you have the vintage He-Man. Now we have the 2002 He-Man. Now we have the Masters of the Universe Classics. Then Super 7 did a He-Man line, and now Mattel's back at it again with He-Man 2020. Well, at least we had, you know, one good thing come out of 2020, right? Actually, there's a lot of great stuff that has come out of 2020. 2020, in a lot of ways, has been a fantastic year. I know it's been a difficult year, but it's been a great year where we can step back and reflect and sort of evaluate uh, where we are in our lives, and are we growing as a people. And sometimes, unfortunately, it takes something like what we've seen in 2020 for us to sort of step back and look at ourselves as, instead of just being individuals, as a collective global community, regardless of your religion, race, or creed. We're all one people, and you know, we need to love others as we love ourselves. You know, and that's important. So a lot of the things for me when I go through these retro vibe things is about learning, you know, what does that have to teach me? What's that offering me that's significant, that is going to foster some positive character development and growth within my character? Because what goes in must come out, you know, and if you feed it, it'll grow. These are principles you could live by. You can live by them. You should live by them. What you put in you comes out of you. It comes out in your interactions with other people. It comes out in how you view yourself. It comes out in how you view others. If you're putting in a bunch of negativity and focusing on negative things, it's going to create negative areas in your life where the things and the people and the circumstances that you associate with, you react to those from that place of negativity that you're fostering. So retro vibe is and always has been about fostering positive character growth, and we're using these things behind us as He-Man, Ghostbusters. All of these are just elements to build on and take from and learn from. It's not just stuff to buy. It's not just. It's never been about that. It's never been about that, and that's something that's very difficult to get around because the lust of this industry, the lust of consumerism, the lust of this 80s pop culture, and the way that it was fed to us in the J.C. Penney catalogs and stuff like that, where they laid it out in this beautiful, oh my gosh, look at that G.I. Joe scene, look at that He-Man scene, look at all this. We so desperately wanted every single thing we saw so that we could recreate that image to give us some sort of, you know, complete something in our life, some sort of emotional joy or some sort of loneliness or some sort of detachment that we were feeling where we thought that that was going to make it better, or we just wanted to have fun, or the eyes saw it and so we wanted it. There are a lot of reasons, you know, you can take and pick from it, and retro vibe is about that. It's about taking and picking from, and looking and learning and taking a deeper reflection. It's not about stuff. It's not about simply buying stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna sell you some stuff because this is the business that I'm in, and you know I sell stuff. And if you're buying it from me, it's coming to you with thought into what it is that's coming to you. It's not just something that I'm going to sell you. It's something that is, you know, it's been thought about. It's been reflected on. It's something. It's not just something grabbed and given. It's something that has meaning to it, and it has a focus point. If you look around, you can see those. You can see all sorts of things. So this is about looking at all that in the practicality of let's just go Mr. Rogers with it, man. This is about being a good neighbor, and Mr. Rogers is a prime example of how to do something uh, outside of yourself. I'm no Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers was a great man, uh, but if you look at why he was, it was what he stood for. It was the thought behind his actions, the unselfish nature that he had about loving and touching, loving others and touching them in that love. Whether it was a smile or a kind word or just thinking of them and where they might be in their day, where they might be in their life, and building from that. You know, building a bridge to another universe inside of a person. You know, we're all walking around and we carry these universes inside of us, and it's hard to touch those sometimes because there's so much callousness that it can be difficult. But we want to reach past all that, and so I kind of want to tell you, you know, that's what retro vibe is about, and that's what it's always been about. So 7 years ago, when I was building this room, and I sort of began to focus on things that left a positive impact on me versus a negative. And over the past 7 years, you know, I've sorted this out into where now, you know, we have a complete package. We're in season 4, but didn't get a complete package of what retro vibe was until now. Now, and I've gone through some great trial and error, pains, labor pains, and refinings. It's been very difficult. You know, I've experienced what it felt like for someone to take something from me, and I've experienced, you know, my own mistakes, my own selfishness, my own greed, my own ambitions, aspects of my own negativity and what have you. And I have seen not so pretty reflections of myself in this. And I don't, at the same time, um, I don't wish anyone any negative, you know,